Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is present. Thanks for joining me, everyone. It is a beautiful Monday, yet another fantastic day not to be in a cult. I am recording from the road, as you can see from the change of my surroundings. Until further notice, I'm going to be in Los Angeles covering the Danny Masterson trial. But I had another little video I wanted to share with you. This has to do with Scientology peddling influence in governments. I get a question a lot. What politicians are Scientologists? Is there anyone in Congress or in Senate or in a cabinet position who's a Scientologist? And the answer is always no, because there just simply aren't any. But the additional answer is that there doesn't need to be. Scientology doesn't need its own members in the halls of power as long as they can peddle influence in those halls. That is actually the true importance of people like Tom Cruise and Greta Van Susteren to Scientology. More important to David Miscavige than actually bringing new people into Scientology is being able to peddle influence in the halls of power. And that's what the Tom Cruises and Greta Van Susterens of the world bring to Scientology. So in that vein, I want to share this clip for you regarding the attempted coup in Morocco in 1972. A couple weeks ago, I published an interview with Janice Gillum Grady, who worked on Scientology's Sea Org flagship Apollo directly under L. Ron Hubbard for, I believe it was about 11 years. And she said that the flagship Apollo would frequently get kicked out of ports in different countries. And she said it was usually for interfering with the local governments. Janice told a story of what Scientology's involvement was in the aftermath of this military coup and how it got Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, the flagship Apollo, kicked out of Morocco. Now, this is a story of Scientology's influence peddling gone wrong, but it does go to show you that they've been up to these kind of shenanigans for a very long time. Check this out.
As we got kicked out of different ports, and we were usually kicked out for trying to interfere with the government. but it wasn't seen that way.
Just usually.
and when we were when he had his motorbike accident, I was with him. When he came back, I could see something was wrong, and I ran down the gangway, and little me trying to hold up the bike until his transportation guy came and got it from me, but I could see he was injured. And he said to me later on, he said, Mary Sue had just told me I was no longer allowed in Spain.
Oh.
And he said, I'm obviously PTS to this situation. So he acknowledged that he could be PTS, which means you have suppressives affecting you. And so you're a potential trouble source. This is Scientology terms. And so he admitted that. And there he was now kicked out of Spain, which Spain had been one of the ports that we used to go to. And we got kicked out of several.
And so how did the Apollo go about trying to interfere with local governments?
Well, the worst one was Morocco.
Uh-huh.
That was terrible. The ship had to go to dry dock.
Okay.
So Hubbard was going to take a 3-week leave and go to his villa in Tangiers and stay there for 3 weeks while the ship went off to dry dock. Once it got to Lisbon, it needed longer time in dry dock and wet dock before it could be occupied by us. So we ended up staying in Tangiers from September until early December. He lived in a villa and we lived in an old college that we'd purchased. And before we'd done that, he had gotten everyone on the ship who spoke French to learn how to sec check.
Okay.
Because what had happened is there had been an attempted coup on the king of Morocco. So we were going to send in a mission of sec checkers to sec check the military to find out who is behind this coup.
Really?
Yes. And this is all in my books. Anyway, so the sec checkers are sec checking away, and they're writing down their list of the names that come up as to who were the masterminds behind the coup. And then one of our guys had a list, and he wanted to present it to the king. Well, he didn't realize the man he was presenting it to was on the list.
Oh, my God.
So I'm on watch with Hubbard at the villa. On watch means I'm with him for my 6 hours.
Yeah.
And the phone rings. And I'm like, the phone's ringing. I'm looking at Hubbard. I'm like, who would be calling here? So he says, go ahead and answer it. So I answer the phone, and it's the mission in charge in Rabat. And he basically says, I need to talk to the Commodore right away. So I hand the phone to him, and basically we're told that it's blowing sky high, that this list was given, and they know what we were doing, and we have the names. And while he was on the phone, he turned to me and he says, get Andre to pack my bags. So I go get Andre, and he's packing his bags. And Andre we're in Tangier, so Andre drives him down to Casablanca, and they get a hotel for the night because he couldn't get a flight until the morning to Lisbon, to where the ship is. And that's when he flew over to Lisbon, was there for a few days, and then he took off to New York for 9 months.
Oh, is that where you see the photos of him with the long hair and everything?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and that was part of his
Yes.
incognito.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did LRH get his sec checkers in a position to be able to start interrogating the king's people?
Well, we had some really good PRs, ship PRs people, and they spoke French, and, we'd been building it for years. For a couple of years, we'd been going to Morocco and doing safe port things and meeting the officials and getting involved with these people. And we'd have parties, and all these local officials would come to the ship, and people just loved us.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Wow.
And we'd every weekend we'd open up the ship for tours, and the locals would come aboard and be given tours of the whole ship. And there's a lot of PR area control that was done that the locals really liked us.
Wow.
Yes.
It's amazing to think that back at that time, someone could actually have success creating good PR for Scientology when, today you couldn't have more toxic PR.
It wasn't for Scientology. They didn't know we were a Scientology ship. We'd been called the mystery ship.
Oh, I see.
But
the PR was for the ship itself.
The PR was for the ship itself. And, and that's why the musicians, the Apollo Stars music band was set up. We were in Madeira, and the mayor of Funchal asked if we had any musicians aboard to put on a concert. And so all these musicians got together and started jamming and figuring out different songs and put on a performance. And it was like, oh, come back again. And so that's how that started. And then it became a PR area control of all the locals knew us. And every port we went to, you go down to the port gates and you just go, Apollo. And they just walk you through. You didn't have to show any papers or anything.
Wow. That's incredible. So if the PR was for the ship itself, if people in Morocco loved you guys but didn't even necessarily know anything about Scientology,
right?
Did L. Ron Hubbard personally just offer, who did he offer this help to? Hey, we're going to help find out who was behind the coup.
Well, he did that through the PRs.
Oh.
Who all had connections. We had people. We did have one of our PRs who, the story that I was told is he did get to the king, rolled up in a rug. He was rolled up on a rug and carried into the palace. That way he could get through because no one would let him into the king.
Oh, I thought it was a punishment. He was sneaking in a rug.
Sneaking in a rug.
Oh my God. And then what happened?
Well, I don't know. I never got into the details.
No one ever saw him again.
No, they did. And he's still alive today.
Oh my God, who is it?
But he's still in good standing.
Who is it?
I'm not going to.
He's in good standing. There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with saying his name.
Well, I never saw it myself. It's just what I was told.
Okay.
His name was Riggs Eccleberry.
Riggs Eccleberry.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a chance Riggs Eccleberry snuck in to see the King of Morocco rolled up in a rug.
Yes.
Okay. Did it ever turn out that guy who was on the list was actually behind the coup?
Yes. I put as much details in my book as I could.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, it's in the book.
Oh my God. So if people ever wonder, can you actually use that e-meter as an effective interrogation tool? Yes, you can. That's incredible.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye!